at schools. Some of you have talked about a student assembly, peer-to-peer student interaction. And some of you have talked about building a platform, for example, that for dancers and singers and the musicians, providing a holistic learning experience to improve their skills, learn business concepts and finance. These are all good ideas, but good ideas also require good execution plan. So if we talk about the idea, you need to speak about the feasibility of your idea. Is it feasible to be implemented? Is it the right time to address to address this problem? Is it scalable? Can you scale up your idea for a larger to scale up to a larger customers? What is it that you are trying to solve? What is the problem that you're trying to solve? How big is the problem? The size of the problem. How big is the market? You need to highlight these things within your hack. What is the opportunity? Where is the opportunity here for you to address? And what differentiates you or your idea from the rest? Are you competing? Are you going to compete with, for example, other startups, or your idea is unique and you have a blue ocean? So you need to think about these four elements when we speak about the idea: the feasibility of the idea, how feasible, and you need to address the problem, the size of the problem, the timing, and you need to speak about who are your customers. You need to identify how big is your customer space. You need to speak to highlight about the uniqueness. How unique is your idea, and where is the opportunity for you? I think these are important element that you need to speak about. Then you need to speak about the solution. So what is it that you are providing? Okay, the idea need to be implemented into a solution. Is it a technology that you will use? For example, technologies either a artificial intelligence and machine learning, or you will use virtual reality, or you will use a blockchain, or any kind of technology to implement the solution itself, whether it's an app or a platform that you will be building, or a website. And then you need also to speak about and to address the business itself. So how you foresee to make money? Business model. What is the business model that you want, that you are thinking about? The revenue model. How you will generate revenue? Is it you will be selling subscription, or it's going to be a one-time payment versus subscription? How much is you considering, for example, the fees? Maybe this can come at a later stage, but you need to take this idea from being a raw idea into a business plan of how you want to implement your idea. Some of the things, for example, I can highlight when you address the education space and the learning space. I think you've seen many startups that came with ideas, for example, of e-learning platform. Take, for example, Khan Academy, providing an online learning platform for students, and for students to access contents, either video and whatever different contents. Coursera, these big platforms that have made a huge impact on online learning. edX, Udemy and Udacity, these are very well-known platforms, e-learning platforms that are impacting the way we learn and the way we acquire knowledge. Some of you have talked about a tutoring platform. It's a good idea, bringing students and tutors, together on a platform. So for university students to tutor school students and, be able to earn money. This is a good idea. For example, school finding the platform, platform that, want to search for the best school for your child, and you want to look into whether this school provides have availability or not. So these are, some of you have talked about this, but I think you will need to address the problem. You need, as an entrepreneur, you should be having an open mind and looking into where is the opportunity, where I can really make an impact, where is my idea is unique. For example, there are platforms now which also address the certificates or the digital certificates using blockchain. Okay, so probably you can use the technology such as blockchain, machine learning and AI, Internet of Things, augmented reality and virtual reality. These technologies, you look at them as an enabler, but you want to look at the specific problem that you want to address. So my suggestions and my recommendations for you guys is that you need to embrace this entrepreneurial mindset. And this entrepreneurial mindset comes with certain, qualities and certain, characteristics. You need to believe in your ability to succeed. You need to believe in yourself, in your idea, and the business idea that you want, in the product or the service that you want to bring to the public. You need to focus. You need to really have a focus, focusing your time, your energy, your attention towards what will help build your idea and business and mitigate whatever, risks that will hold you back. So you need to focus, and you need to have attitudes, and good and successful entrepreneurs have a mindset, with that is, you need to be persistent. Okay, because you need to know that the business world, the world out there, you will not get things in the easy way. Look at those successful people who have, successful entrepreneurs who have, brought big companies, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and others, Bill Gates, and they were very persistent, and they were very passionate about what they wanted to do, and they believed that they can change the world. Okay, and the rest who you might fail 1, 2, 3, or you might fail 10 times. But if you believe in your idea, and if you believe that this idea will make a difference, you need to knock on door. You need to be persistent. You need to be also adaptable. You need to be curious, acquiring new knowledge, learning, embracing lifelong learning. You need to have a collaborative, mindset, that by yourself you cannot do, things by yourself. You will need to have a proper team. You need to have, people who can help you, implement what you want to implement. You need to be future focused. You look into the future, into the things that will really make a difference, into the things that have not been done yet. This is what differentiates good idea from a bad idea. It's an idea that addresses unique need in the society and can create a value, to the people, and it could be, and you want to look at it from a different perspective. You want to differentiate yourself from the rest. What is it really, that the thing that will make your idea succeed? What is it really, the thing that will differentiate you, from the rest? So these are important, I believe, elements when now you are competing in this, Excellence Festival against many. We have received, I think, in this space, we have received around 99 hacks. So you are competing not locally, but you are competing also with other students globally. So in order to win, you need to show the judges, okay, that you're worth winning by having, by addressing these issues, by talking about the feasibility of your idea, how feasible it is, the scalability of the idea, can it be scaled really, and include a much wider community, about the uniqueness and the opportunity. And you need to have a plan. How do you want to execute this? For me as a judge, to see that you have a coherent idea and really how you want to implement it, and it will have an impact, and you address all these issues, this what will differentiate you from the rest of the people who have already applied. I'm going to email you, some of my feedback about your hacks. I looked into, I have about, I think I have about 5 hacks here. And in each one, definitely in each one, the idea sounded great, but without a plan, it's worth nothing. So, some of you, for example, have talked about automating school seat availability, but have not, shown how, you will collect the data from schools and did not show how you're going to monetize the service. Are you going to provide this free of charge? Are you willing? Are you going to make a non-profit business, or a business that will generate revenue and will generate money for you? So you need to address the business plan. You need to address how you will incentivize people to come and how you will acquire the data, how you will bring customers to your platform. These are important items that, as we go along through this process, you need to address. So with that, I'm going to email you my feedback for each one of you for those hacks which I am for those people whom I'm mentoring, and we'll take it from there. But I hope that I have covered the important and the essential things which you need to address, and this space of education. The problem itself, how big is the problem, what your idea is really solving, where is the opportunity, who are your customers, how you want to generate money out of this, what is your business plan, what is your business model, and how how you want to execute your idea, who is the team behind this. These are important things that you will need, guys, to consider and elaborate more on your hacks as we proceed to the next level. And with that, I think I'm going to stop here. I don't know, Judith, if you want to continue this.
Yes.
And if there is any question from the audience here, I'll be happy to answer.
Exactly. Thank you so much. This is very valuable information and insight that we get. So now we before we move on to Dr. Simon, if there's any question from students. So while waiting for those questions, if I may summarize, Dr. Saeed, entrepreneur mindset, they must have a curiosity. They must be curious. They must be able to do teamwork, and they must be future focused to be a good entrepreneur. And great ideas are unique and can create values, right? Okay, we have a question from, let me see. Let's start from whatever I have in my list. Okay, Ahmad Abid, please, you can unmute your microphone. Yes.
Hello, thank you. So I was already working with my team on our hack and our project, and we were developing everything. And then we had a better idea, but we couldn't develop it in the right time. So we don't know. Maybe it's can we submit it, or is there something to change? Because our idea is kind of revolutionary, and our new our new idea is revolutionary, and we would like to represent it. Maybe it can help the world, and you know.
I'm not sure I can answer this. Maybe Judith, because what we have received are short-listed ideas from submission of around, I think, 500. So I'm not sure if there is now time to submit to submit for ideas. If you haven't done this, Ahmed, I really cannot answer this. I will leave it to the management to decide.
Okay, thank you, Ahmed. So next is Abdul Karim, please. Abdul Karim.
My question is, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
My question is, how do we update our submission for those individuals who will be getting feedback? For example, my idea was like the synopsis. I just submitted my idea in a bird's eye view, not the main part. I really want to submit the whole idea, but the website said it means to be in one A4 paper, so I left out of paper. So how do I address this issue?
Ahmed, can you repeat your question? Make it clear, please, because I could not hear you well. So what is the question? You submitted an idea, and what is your question?
I submitted an idea, but the idea was very short, because it was meant to be in one A4 paper. So
okay, so your idea, you submit your idea, and your idea is short in one paper. I think you will need to expand on the idea, Ahmed. Okay, you need to show, some of those elements which I have talked about, like the uniqueness of the idea, how feasible is your idea to be implementable, how scalable, and where is the opportunity. So you need to address those, factors in your idea, and you expand more in it to convince us that this idea is good to be implemented, and it will make a difference, and it will benefit such and such. So you need to expand in the idea and build on top of the idea itself.
Excuse again. I really want that, but the
I understand, Abdul Karim. If I may help you to clarify this. So you have all participants, not just you, all just submitted of A4 paper size idea. And based on that, we will review the idea, we shortlist them. If we decided for you to move forward, then of course we will ask you to submit a longer version of the idea. We'll give you feedback, and then based on that, you will continue and submit a longer version of that idea. Don't worry about that. We will send you more information on how to move forward from just an A4 paper idea. All right. Thank you, Abdul Karim. Patrick, next. Appreciate if your question is concise.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, doctor. And good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, I have a question. There are two different types of entrepreneurs. There is the effectual entrepreneur and the casual entrepreneur. Effectual entrepreneur is one who focuses on an actual idea of the business, and the casual entrepreneur is one who plays along ideas as they arise. But like it said, in order for one to succeed as an entrepreneur, he's supposed to be having both characters. He's supposed to be an effectual entrepreneur and a casual entrepreneur at the same time. So I wanted to know how a person can be both of them without colliding.
If I understand your question about entrepreneurship, and I don't know about these two different categories of entrepreneurship, but entrepreneurs, Patrick, is about is something that you would. It's a dream that you want to accomplish. It is something. It's probably an idea in your mind, and you think that, oh, if I implement this idea, it will have a huge impact. It will benefit, the society, it will benefit maybe customers or society in large, and you have a passion about it. It is not something that, oh, I'm going to think about it. I will try. If it works, fine. If it doesn't, then I quit. Entrepreneurs do not quit. Entrepreneurs are like I said, are persistent about their ideas, are open-minded, future focused. Look at all the people who have made those businesses worldwide, whether talking about food chain or ideas in the technology. They work days and nights, really to implement their idea. They have a passion. They are willing to learn. They are willing also to take risk. Okay, they are willing to take risks. So entrepreneurship is about this, is about outcome oriented. They think about the outcome. They deal with facts and not fluff. They are fact focused. They live to provide value, and service. And they are also ready to renew their minds, to learn and to explore. So this is what differentiates really entrepreneurship. And as you go about you executing your idea, you will learn more from interacting with the team, from collaborating, from reading, from exploring. So it requires this open and growth mindset to be really a good entrepreneur, and with the characteristics and the qualities, the attitude with which entrepreneurs must have, is really to be persistent and to be focused and to be future looking.
All
I
right.
hope this answers your questions, Patrick.
Yeah, I appreciate so much, Doctor, and everyone. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
All right.
I'm muted, Judith. You're muted, Judith.
Sorry, I'm on. Always like this. Yes, thank you for the answer. And Abhinav, I know your microphone is already on, but I think we have to keep the time. So it's not that you cannot ask question. Abhinav, Srikar, Ammar, Shakshi, Abdullah, Osama, you can still ask questions by writing down your questions on the chat window, and Dr. Saeed will be able to answer you there. But I would prefer you to focus on the next topic by Dr. Simon. So yeah, while you still can post questions, you can expect the answer maybe by email or later on. Okay? All right. So the next stage will be for Dr. Simon, please.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. Dr. Saeed set a great framework, if you like, for how we can evaluate ideas and the things that we need to bear in mind when we're coming up with some of these venture proposals. What I would like to do is to run through a few slides, concentrating on how you present your business idea, whether it's for a part of a competition, whether it's part of a pitch for angel or VC funding. I want to focus in on how you can communicate your ideas effectively. Now I just need to share my screen if that's possible.
Yes, you can share your screen. If you see the square icon next to your microphone icon, you can click on that.
Okay.
And you can choose whether you want to share the whole desktop or a certain application to share.
Okay, can't see anything. Hang on, sharing. Let's try again.
Okay.
I've got open share tray.
Yeah, like a share content.
Right.
If you're on Windows, you can also press Control-Shift-E.
All right, let me try again. Can you see anything now?
Not yet.
Control-Shift-E.
For echo.
Oh, I don't know what's going wrong. Is there any way that this could be enabled from your side? More actions.
Yep. You can email the presentation to me, and I can share it for you. I'll write my email address on the chat window.
All right.
All right. Yeah. There you go.
Wait a minute. Sorry.
So maybe in the meantime,
Okay.
Dr. Saeed can use this opportunity to answer some of those questions on the chat.
I'm trying to look at the questions and trying to address them. Yes, in the chat.
Yeah. I saw a very interesting question from Srikar Bharadwaj. How do you value a startup idea? I think Dr. Saeed has mentioned that a good idea has to be unique and create value. This create value is the most important, I think. I got the file from Simon. All right, let me just download it. All right, so give me some time to open this presentation and okay, it should be open now. Now I will share my screen, and Dr. Simon, you can always just tell me when it's the time to advance to the next slide. So you can see this screen.
All right.
Yeah.
That's lovely. Thank you very much. I've only got a few slides, but if we can go to the next.
Yeah.
A little bit about me. I'm originally from the UK, but spent over 20 years in Hong Kong, and I'm now based in Bahrain. So I spent a lot of time on islands during my career. Next slide. My current role is I'm a venture partner at a relatively new venture capital firm called Plus VC, and we focus on investing in early stage startups right across the MENA region. We don't focus on any particular sector, but we do tend to focus on the early stage, emphasizing the quality of the team. I'm also an advisor for a new equity crowdfunding platform called Bamboo Corn, which is located out of Dubai and Bahrain. And I'm an advisor and professor here at the Applied Science University here in Bahrain. Next slide. So normally when we want to present a business idea, we're going to end up using PowerPoint. And generally speaking, when we're using PowerPoint, it's always good to use the 10, 20, 30 rule. And it's quite simple. There are similar rules to this, but they all emphasize the same thing, basically that less is more. So a pitch really should have no more than 10 slides. If you have more than that, you're going to lose people's attention. You can always have slides as an appendix that you can draw on if there are questions. But if you have a flow of a presentation, around 10 is a good number. And try not to make the presentation too long. Again, if you really want to hold people's attention span, 20 minutes is a really good length for them to focus on a new business concept or a new business idea. And you don't have to tell them everything. Obviously, in some cases, you want to leave them hungry for more. So, you know, whet their appetite, but you don't actually have to give them every single detail or every single piece of research that you've done. And then when you actually choose to develop your slides, generally speaking, try not to have very text-heavy slides. Try to just put down a few key bullet points, a few key messages that you want your audience to remember, and then provide more detail in the talk or as a handout that you give after the presentation. So keeping the fonts pretty big is a great way to make sure that you don't put too much text onto one slide. Next slide. So what slides do you need? Well, there are different versions and different views about this, particularly in terms of the order of the slides. But first of all, when you have a business idea that you want to pitch, state what the problem is. What is the issue that you're trying to solve with your business? And that's quite an important thing to articulate quite quickly and quite concisely. Then, what is your vision? How are you going to solve that problem? What will your product or service do to try and alleviate or satisfy that particular need? Alleviate the problem or help satisfy that need? And then what's special about your product or service? What's your unique value proposition? Why should they get this product or service from you? What is it that really makes your business, your service, your product stand out amongst its competitors? This is a very fundamental issue, and it's important that you do search and find out who your competitors are. Many times we hear presentations from startups and they say, oh, we don't have a competitor, we're unique. Almost every business has some form of competitor, maybe not a direct competitor, but you're always competing for your customer's dollar. You're always competing for your customer's attention. Even in that sense, who are you competing against? And then, particularly for early stage startups, most VCs are really interested in the team. So present your team in a really positive light. Not just the founder of the team, but the whole team needs to be presented to show that you have, you know, a team that complements each other, that you've got a good balance of skills, experience within even a small team. So emphasizing the team and showing the personality of the team is very important, because even if the idea has some problems, you know, when you have an investor, the investor will work with you to try and sort those problems out. But even if you have a great idea and a very weak team, often the VC will not be so comfortable. They would rather focus on working with a team that they see as great partners going forward. And then when you do have your business plan, what are the milestones? How can we ensure that you're on track? What do you want to achieve over the next 6 months, the next year, the next 2 or 3 years? And break that down into milestones so we can see whether you're going to be on track, whether these are realistic milestones for your business going forward. And then go into more detail in your next slide about your business model. All right, how does it work? What is behind the business model that you're proposing? And of course, again, showing the competition, showing who else is out there, showing that you've researched the competition is very, very important. Are your competitors doing well? Is this a growing market? And again, how do you differentiate yourself from your competitors in this market, or even competitors that may be in other countries that are doing very, very well in the United States or China? Competitors can be good for 2 reasons. They can show how you stack up against your competition, but if you have a competitor in another location, another region, that has got real traction, that is doing very well, it shows that this is actually a good business concept. This is a growing, thriving market. So also quite important. And then finally, the last slide perhaps should be your ask. What you want the investors to do for you. And it's not just about the investment dollars they're going to put in. What other asks do they have? Next slide, please. Now I'm going to go through a few tips that a number of different VCs have made to startups over the years. First off, as we said before, keep your PowerPoint presentation short. Remember, they may be seeing hundreds of different presentations. All right, they want to be able to pick out the key parts of your business plan, the key strengths of what you're trying to suggest very, very quickly. Think about them. Think about how they are going to get the information out of your presentation quickly. All right, and always in presentations, less is more. People are only going to remember a few key points from your presentation. The more you crowd it out with unnecessary levels of detail, the more that message, the key messages you want them to take away, could be lost. Another example is if you're talking through slide 1 and everybody in the room is nodding and they get it, you don't need to go into a lot more detail. Move on. Don't waste their time. If they're reading ahead, if they're grasping the idea very quickly, you don't need to read through every single bullet point. On the other hand, if your pitch isn't going very well, if you can see from their body language that they're not paying attention, they're not getting it, they're showing some element of frustration, just ask them, are you with me? Maybe there's something that you haven't included that they are frustrated about. So stop the presentation, ask them, do they get it? Does it make sense to you? Get that interaction and dialogue going at an early stage. Don't wait until you finished your whole presentation to find out they didn't understand something in slide 1. And also, of course, you must be confident. Of course, you are passionate about your business idea, and every entrepreneur should be like that. But don't be afraid to share what you are worried about, what your weaknesses might be. Because being aware of those weaknesses shows maturity, shows self-awareness, and shows that you are open to improve on your idea. You're a team, you can work in partnership with your investors. So that's quite important. Next slide, please. And a few more tips. before you do your presentation, of course, it's always a good idea to practice. A presentation should be natural. It shouldn't just be, you know, remembered like a rote learning exercise, but practice getting some of your colleagues to ask you very difficult questions, questions you really don't want anybody to answer or to ask you, and practice giving answers to those questions. Because then if you do get asked a tough question, it won't throw you. It won't throw your whole presentation. You will be able to front up and answer that question, and then you can move on. The number one sign of transparency when we're talking to entrepreneurs and founders is if they truly admit that they don't know the answer to a question. It's okay. You know, you've only just started a new business. You may not have thought of everything. But the key thing there is to say, I don't know the answer to that right now, but I will get back to you. And the next key thing is you do have to get back to them. If you say you'll get back to them with more information, be professional, follow up. It gives you an excuse to then engage with the investor one more time. All right, but you do need to follow through. Most breakout startups have a really sound core business, but be careful about showing too many different options, too many different revenue streams at the outset. All right, because it could mean that you are chasing your tail, following up on so many different market opportunities that you don't deliver on what could be the core revenue stream. So you do need to have focus. You can't do everything all at once. Even if there are many other opportunities, stick to what you think is the core business area. You can pivot, but don't do 5 or 6 different things at the same time. And of course, the quality of the team is very, very important. I always think it's quite useful for startup entrepreneurs to talk about what motivates them, why they wanted to do this business idea, to show some personal history, some personal story about why they are so passionate about this particular area or this particular business solution. So by all means, if you've got a doctorate, if you've got tremendous experience in a particular area, say it up front, don't be shy. But also demonstrate the capabilities of the whole team. Don't just talk only about the lead founder. Next slide, please. Oh, I think there's one more. Yeah. It's important that you do have some of the financial details. It's important that you've thought through you know, what dilution and valuation you are looking to achieve with your business. All right, think through the milestones and what amounts of money will allow you to do what types of activities. A lot of VCs love spreadsheets. Now, I'm not saying you have to have that in your core presentation, but if you can refer to a spreadsheet in your appendix, it shows that you've done your homework. You've thought through the financials, and that's really important. And ask real questions back, you know. Don't just feel that you have to field the questions. It's always good for you to challenge and to ask questions from the investors too. They will like that. They want to be engaged, all right? So ask them tough questions about what they can do to support you and how you might fit in with some of their portfolio companies, whether those portfolio companies could be partners or even customers for you in the early stages of your journey. And of course, it goes without saying, whenever you're giving a presentation to investors, do your homework. Check them out on LinkedIn, check out their websites, check them out on other social media, so you know what motivates them, what they're tweeting about, because this could help you in your discussions with them going forward. All right. And finally, it's good to have not just one ask. Don't just ask for the money that you want, but what about other things? You know, introductions to a major potential customer, for example, support in discussing with a regulator if you're a fintech firm. There could be many different asks, but think about it. What asks would you have of an investor aside from just cash? Because you want an intelligent investor, you want an investor who is going to partner with you and not just bankroll everything. You need that level of support that a really experienced investor can bring to the party. And I think that's my last slide. Next slide. That's all I have for you today. I hope I'm not preaching too much to you, but I just wanted to show you a few slides about how you can communicate your business ideas effectively. Because even if you have an amazing team, an amazing product, an amazing service, it's only as good as you are when you present it. So you have to be able to communicate it effectively to get customers excited, to get investors to buy into it, and in some cases to find other mentors and partners. So I hope that helps. I would be very happy to try and answer any of your questions on that presentation. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Simon. I think it's like, it doesn't matter how handsome you are, how beautiful you are, if nobody knows.
Exactly.
Right. So yeah, to some extent, we have to promote what we have to do. Yeah, to others, so they know the product. It doesn't matter if your product is very good, but and it's very valuable actually, but nobody knows, right? So yes, I think it's very useful tips from you, Dr. Simon. And we open the forum for you participants to ask questions. You can type on the chat window if you like. Yeah, all right. So, or you can ask. Let's see.
I can see we've got one from Amar who's saying, any tips for online pitches? Well, we're all doing a lot more online pitches now than we've ever done before. Yeah, I think obviously make sure the technology works. I think the other thing is, try to maintain eye contact with the camera. It's not easy to do that, but it is quite important. And I think, you have to try and hold people's attention. So try to be as animated as possible, but it's not as easy to do that when you're sitting in front of a laptop as it is if you're sitting in front of an audience in a meeting room. I'm also happy to share these slides, no problem at all.
Yeah, so I think we have a question. We have a hand raised from Abhinav. Abhinav, you may unmute your microphone and you can ask.
So I'm still in 11th grade, high school. I came up with this idea by myself, but I don't have a team, and my question is, how should I go about bringing this to fruition, my idea?
Well, that's a good start. Having a good idea is a great start, but sooner or later you need to share that idea and you need to communicate it to somebody who believes in you and believes in the idea and is willing to partner with you. So finding at least one partner is quite an important next step. You can do so much by yourself, but after a while, it really helps to have somebody else to bounce ideas off, sometimes to criticize you, to say, but have you thought of this, to play devil's advocate. So, a team is much more effective than a solo player. And I think, trying to find maybe another classmate, maybe a relative, maybe a good friend who buys into your idea at this early stage is great. You can also draw upon, part-time advisors later on, who can bring maybe marketing expertise or financial expertise or networks as mentors in to help you. But most startups that angel and VCs will invest in have already found a small team. They're not a solo player.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Abdullah Osama.
Can you hear me, guys? You can hear me, gentlemen?
Yep.
Okay. About the presentation, how long is going to take? Is it acceptable to take?
Well, as I said at the outset, it really depends on the format. You have to check with who you're going to present to. It's a good idea to ask them, how long would you like me to present? If they are completely open, then I would suggest 20 minutes and then leave 10 minutes perhaps for follow-up questions. But I'm afraid for many pitching competitions, it's much shorter than that. And
Yeah,
so
but because
you need to reduce the number of slides, and you need to make sure you're not giving them an epileptic fit by having all these slides going.
Don't worry about it. But because I really got maybe a little bit hard schedule, and my number is 97, and I really want to know when should I present, because I really have lecture before it, and I really need to finish fast. I need to finish and then come up to the presentation.
Sorry?
Okay, let me repeat. I still have a lecture before the competition, so I think I may need some time so I can enter to the presentation. So is it fine to come late? Late at 2 o'clock, maybe I may present.
I'll have to defer to the organizers on
Yeah,
this.
yeah. I think this question is not related to the topic. Well, you can join anytime, but of course we are just going by schedule. So it's up to you to join later or sooner. But yeah, you're going to miss something, but there will be recording. All right.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Last question from Rafinder. Before we go to the text questions, Rafinder Dipt.
I hope everyone is doing good. So my question is, can we collaborate with competitors to bring something new?
Of course you can, if the competitors are willing to collaborate with you. And if you are bringing something to them that makes it worthwhile, but you have to be careful. You have to go into this with your eyes open. And before you start sharing something that is very unique to your business, you need to make sure that your competitors will not take advantage of your idea. Of course, you can enter into NDAs, non-competition agreements, but this is quite complicated. I think that the key thing is to ensure that although this could be an existing competitor, whether you could have a dialogue of trust with that individual before you share too much of your secret sauce.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we still have a question from Ahmed. Ahmed Abid, please.
Yes, sure. So I was wondering maybe if I can record the video of me talking and pitching the project.
I'm sorry, Ahmed. I think your background is very crowded. If you could move to a more quiet place. Is that possible?
Is this better?
You can try.
Sorry, that's the best I can do.
Okay, or would you like to rather type the question?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll type it right now.
Thank you so much. All right. Anyone else? I think we still have time, around 30 minutes, maybe for maximum 30 minutes for the question and answer. If Dr. Saeed and Dr. Simon still have time, right? Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I see many people are commenting on the 3-minute pitches. For competitions, this is quite standard. And it really means refining your business idea down to something, the absolute core. It's a great discipline. Later on, when you're presenting to an investor, though, of course, this has to be a longer, more detailed presentation. But at an early stage, it's very common to have to do an elevator pitch of 3 to 5 minutes. You're quite right.
Dr. Saeed, you may have comments on that.
Yeah, I mean, Simon have said. I mean, I myself entered into pitching. You know, that is required to be, for example, here in Abu Dhabi with the government department's program for social entrepreneurs. Although I come from an NGO or a non-profit organization that we wanted to pitch, but we've been given 5 minutes. You know, you have to conclude your entire presentation in 5 minutes, and you need to be focused. So in situations like this, you need to deliver exactly your idea in a very concise way. How impactful is the idea, and what are you asking for, to support implementing your idea. So it depends from a situation from situation to situation, as Simon said, but usually it's between this time frame, 5, maybe 10, maximum 15 minutes, in some other VC startups looking for probably established startups.
Yeah. Okay. And there's a question from Ahmed just now because of the background noises. He wrote, is it possible to record a pitching video, then just play it on the day of presentation? I think, well, it is possible, but I would feel less confidence to see that. What do you think, Simon?
I agree. I'm very wary about video presentations within presentations. Usually they don't work. Yes. If it's a face-to-face one, always the sound is not right. It can spoil the flow of your presentation. And this is a personal thing. You are standing in front of your potential investors, whether it's on a laptop or face-to-face. Simply playing them a video clip, I think, is not going to convey that passion, that personal involvement and investment that you've made in having this discussion with them. So, no, I would suggest that you just practice, be yourselves, and communicate directly.
I think, though, important, maybe Judy and Simon, if you all agree, that we start doing this here in the UAE, is that to teach principles of entrepreneurship in schools for younger children, and I think that helps them really to understand how is this world of startups works, what they need to focus on, how they should build their ideas and all that. So that takes really, if we can bring this into our schools, it will help great, and this is part of creating the entrepreneurship ecosystem, in a country.
Yes.
I agree completely. I think you can't start early enough, getting this culture and the excitement of being an entrepreneur into the curriculum of even primary school children, I think can sow the seeds for the future.
Okay. So I think Patrick also wants to ask a question.
Good afternoon, Dr. Simon. Yeah, I have a question. And the question is, you've said you're supposed to present everything in a limited period of time. I was asking, can that all be presented in a business model canvas?
Sorry, in a business
model canvas.
In a business model canvas.
There's this model canvas for business.
Yeah. Yes, of course it can. I mean, you can use whatever tools that you feel will communicate your idea effectively, but within the time constraints. So if it's a very complicated compass with lots of different aspects, maybe it's better to leave as a handout after the thing, rather than using it as something that you're going to talk through.
Yeah.
All right then. Yeah. Thanks so
And
much.
Patrick, I'm not an expert here, but as a lecturer, I think I would value more someone who presented something out of their head rather than reading something. So, yeah,
All right.
it's more convincing, right? You know your stuff very well.
Sure.
Farah,
Yeah.
Farah has a
Yeah.
question. Go ahead, Farah.
Yeah, sorry. I wrote my question down in the chat, but I'm not sure if you saw it. I just said how you've said how we need, for example, if we are skilled in a particular area and it's related to our business, that we should include it. But what if we actually lack this knowledge that we need? Because what if we don't know if our idea is going to work because we don't have the knowledge yet? Can we ask them for help in that area, as in research?
You mean a potential investor asking them for help to research your idea?
Not the investor, but who do you think might help us?
Well, I think it's, managing your mentors is quite an important thing in life, whether you're a startup or somebody just beginning their career. So I think carefully identifying potential mentors who could add that experience, really help critique your business idea, coach you a little bit in how you and your presentation makes sense. But so you need to sort of map out some candidates of mentors, whether they are professors, whether they are business leaders, even family members for that matter, who could add something to your business plan. But I think the other thing is that I serve as a mentor for quite a few really amazing mentees, but the ones that benefit the most are the ones that manage the relationship. The mentees that come into a mentor session with a very clear objective as to what they want to get out of that discussion. So I think too many people are passive. They find the mentor and then they sit back and almost just wait for the mentor to tell them what to do. I think you need to manage the relationship, if that's of any help.
And if I can add something here, to this question, is that I mean, you will need to do some kind of research, to be able to. I mean, to be able to convince. I mean, with a mentor is fine, I understand, but you as an entrepreneur, you need to do your homework, your due diligence, to make sure that this idea will work or not. And now you have the internet, you have Google, you can search and you will find plenty of information in a particular area, whether you're talking about, for example, if your idea is in education, but sometimes it requires really some insight, and that insight can come with the research, and maybe by asking some people who probably close to you and understand in that particular area, and to guide you, and maybe to show you where there are opportunities, that you can come up with ideas.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and if I may add also, if the skill that you're lacking, for example, you need something that requires programming, for example, there are many freelancers out there that you can source. If you need welding, for example, that might be very physical, but yeah, there are companies and individuals who can lend their hand, of course, with some compensations. There are some manufacturers, small manufacturing companies in China, in Europe, that you can do a contract manufacturing if you need to make prototypes, for example. So not to worry, there are many resources, good people out there. Yeah. All right. So Sakshi raised the hand,
Yeah.
please. Yeah.
I just wanted to add to the question that Farah mentioned earlier. So if we're not experts in, say, a technical field, but our idea is very technical, will our mentors that we get in this in the next month, will they be able to help us reach out to different sources of information where we can probably get more research done?
Yeah, probably yes, probably no, because the role of the mentors are to guide you. So the guidance that they will give is first, if I'm a mentor, for example, and you ask me this question, I don't know about this thing. I will ask you first, have you found your answer on Google? Have you asked that question to your colleague or something?
I think we
What do you
have to
think,
be
Saeed?
careful here. If you have a business idea that's technical that you don't understand yourself, then maybe this isn't the right business idea for you. Of course, you can bring in experts, but you have to own the idea. You have to be confident that your product or solution is going to work. And you need to be able to do that initial research yourself. As Dr. Saeed said, you can't outsource that from the very beginning. You have to have some foundation that you can then add to later on. But if you don't have that yourself, maybe that's not quite the right venture for you right now.
And this is where the team play come. I mean, if you, for example, you are good in the business, but maybe you lack technical expertise, and you have a partner who is good in the technical. For example, if your idea is about implementing something in education and you want to implement it using a blockchain, and you are not good in the blockchain, maybe you understand a bit of it, but you don't go into the deep. But you have a partner or one of your team who understand the technicality. I think this is where the team play come, and and choosing the right people to team with, I think, is important.
Thank you. Ravinder Deb, you have another question apparently. Go ahead.
So my question is, there are many schemes given by government. So is it good idea to spread our project with support of government? I mean, instead of collaborating with some competitors, we can directly connect with government. Like my main motive of making project is not to only make a profit out of it, but I also want to contribute to my society. So will it be boost to collaborate with the government?
I mean, if collaborating with government is good, as long as the government is willing to collaborate with you, and you convincing the government that yes, I have something could be of interest to you, and this is where actually we have here in the UAE, which is called government accelerators. The government, they go and they seek startups who have niche solutions to solve some of the challenges that the government are facing. And this is part of a process of also, what shall I say, shortlisting startups who might have some potential solutions that can address government problems.
Thank you for your answers.
So even if it's for charity, you still have to compete because many other people want to do charity as well.
Exactly.
All right. Okay. So very interesting and productive hour we have. I think we have to end the session for now, but don't worry. Next week we are going to meet again and keep that going. Today we have learned that we need to have a very good teamwork, find the right people, future focused, create a unique and idea and that can create values. And you have learned how to pitch your idea using PowerPoint. Yeah, it's not going to happen soon, but it's good to prepare starting from now. Thank you again. Judy here from Dubai. See you again next week. Keep those things coming. Have a good afternoon.
Take care.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.